Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to our latest campaign unveiling here at Agent Legend. It's great to have you. As an Agent Legend member who's live with us right now, you are the first to see this brand new campaign. I want you to know that these webinars are exclusive to Agent Legend members. We're letting you know what's working now in the industry so that you can continue to crush it and effortlessly do all the follow-up that you know leads to more closings. So we're super excited about this series. And we have our amazing guest and friend with us today, Tristan Ahumada. He is known as the Aquaman of the real estate world. And Tristan runs his own teams, and he's also a very well-respected thought leader in the space. You can keep up with him and his work in the Lab Coat Agents Facebook group. So look him up, find him there. He's always doing amazing things. And Tristan, it's wonderful to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Dude, I love the intro. I don't know about well-respected, but everything else I agree with.
I respect you.
Aquaman is amazing. I mean, I am amazing. Sorry.
You and Aquaman are the same person.
We're just the same.
Well,
so let's do this.
You have created this campaign that we are unveiling today. We're going to get into it in just a minute. I just want to let everybody know this is a private webinar for Agent Legend customers, but we've also invited Lab Coat Agents members here in honor of Tristan. So hello, Lab Coat Agent members. And just a little housekeeping before we dive right in that Bria and Kate from our customer team, they're online. And if you guys type into the chat box or you type into the questions box, if you have any questions, they're going to answer your questions in the chat. So feel free to just interact and feel free to type any questions to them. Also, we are recording this webinar. So if you'd like to review it or share it with your team afterwards, you're going to get a recording. You're also going to get the slide deck. So you don't have to write any of this stuff down. You're going to get the slides that have all the content on them. And very exciting, this brand new campaign we're unveiling today, it's waiting for you right now inside your Agent Legend account. So there's actually nothing that you need to do. You don't have to create anything. The campaign is there for you today. So Tristan,
that's awesome.
Please get us going. What is the topic for today and why is this important?
All right, so before we come up with topics, Kate, Costas, and myself kind of have like this text exchange that we go through, and we're like, hey, should we talk about this? And like, no. How about this? And no. So that's how we ended up talking about online seller lead drips. And so we're always trying to figure out what most agents need, and we're trying to tackle that first. So we figured we've talked about the online buyers, whether we're getting them from Facebook or Google PPC or wherever we're getting them from. And we've never really tackled the online seller drip. So today we wanted to talk about these online seller lead drips, and this specific drip campaign that I built, they don't shut off after the consumer responds. And this way it has more of that nurture effect, which we all need because we're not on our A game all the time, right? Calling people. Now, the idea behind this drip is for it to go out immediately after you receive an online inquiry about someone having a question about the value of their home. And that's very specific. So don't be using this if you find somebody and you're door knocking and they're like, oh, thanks for the flyer. And you're like, yeah, I'll stay in touch with you. That won't work for this. This is specifically for somebody asking for, well, how much is my home worth? Because most of the leads that we're getting online, they're responding to the ads that we're putting out there, which is how much is my home worth? Zillow does the same, where they're saying, well, how much is your home worth? And Realtor.com always copies Zillow, so they're doing the same thing. And let's get started. All right.
Absolutely.
We got that. Perfect. So what's your home worth? Any questions to start off with? No? Good. Let's get to it then. So day one, 5 minutes into this. So as soon as the lead comes through, 5 minutes later, a text goes out, and the text sounds like this. Hey, first name. So I'm going to use your name, Costas. So it'd be like, hey, Costas, I got your inquiry about your home. I'm working on the value right now. Could you tell me if you've remodeled anything in the home recently? Question mark. And the reason we ask that is because we found that if we ask for a little bit more information about the home, people will actually give it to you. And we need that if we're actually gathering real information to give them the actual value of their home without seeing it, right? And rather than just sending them the value of their home, rather than them sending a CMA directly, we're pausing for a second to engage with them and say and ask a real question. It's like, hey, Costas, I haven't seen your home. I don't know what's up with it. Have you fixed anything lately? Have you remodeled it? A bathroom, a kitchen, anything? And this one right here gets us about a 30% response rate. That first text alone. And the reason for it is because it actually sounds like you need this information to do the work, right? What do you think about that one, Costas?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Asking a question that's specific to them. I mean, it doesn't scream automation anyway. It's personalized. It shows you're thinking of them, which makes them take you seriously and appreciate that. It's not a canned response, or rather, it doesn't seem like a canned response, which is the whole point of the kind of follow-up that we do, right? We want to clone you the way that you would talk to people anyways, so that way none of it appears automated, and that's important.
Yeah, that's it, dude. And so you can delay this text actually. If you want to end up changing this all out, you can delay this to go out 10 minutes later. This one doesn't need to go out immediately because it gives the appearance that you're actually thinking about this and saying, well, look, I've looked up your home and I'm not sure if you've remodeled it or not. So tell me. Now, if they don't respond, we're always looking for a nudge text, just to nudge you because we're not sure at what point you sent out that text. You weren't expecting me to respond. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to respond quickly because I'm not sure if when you inquired, you were in a place that maybe you just started work, or you were heading into a meeting, or you were going to do something that you actually didn't expect a response back from the agent that quickly. So we always nudge you just in case you don't respond back in the first few minutes. We don't want you to forget about us. So the next text goes out 30 minutes later. It says, hey, I forgot to ask if you're thinking of refinancing or selling, because it makes a difference in the value I create for you. This one gets some people to respond back too, because they say, well, what's the difference, or why does that matter? Right? And that's what we're going for. We're going for them to actually respond. We want to engage them. So when we put that out there, they're like, well, how would that matter? And it does. Believe it or not, it actually does. When somebody's going out to refinance, they'll give you a better value for your home than actually when you're going to sell it. So when they respond back to that one, I say, do you have a few minutes so that I can explain? And I transition them over to actually calling them and engaging with them at that point. And what happens then, once you take it from text to an actual call, is now, because you're giving them information that they probably didn't know, you're acting like the expert they were hoping they would get. Right? And that's important, because whether or not they're refinancing or they're actually going to purchase in the future or sell, whatever they're going to do, the point is that at the very beginning of this, now they're seeing you as the expert and they'll trust you. And when you look at the NAR stats, the number one thing that consumers look for, specifically sellers, is somebody that they can trust, somebody that has integrity, right? Somebody that they can respect, because guess what? They have this knowledge, right? And that's how day one looks. Not very aggressive. At least it wasn't aggressive for me. Is that aggressive, Costas? No, it's pretty.
Not at all. I mean, the beauty about following up in this way is that they came to you wanting a home evaluation report, right? Or whatever the first step of your funnel was. And then you have permission to go after them. I'm impressed by this, because I think, first of all, even if you were not thoughtful, even if someone is a a terrible agent who all they do is just annoy people, the prospect did give you permission to do that. So technically you do have the permission, although that's not going to get you the deal. I think they gave you permission, and you have a thoughtful script that represents you and the way that you talk and the way that you give value to people. This is right in line with with how we want things to be done, and I think how agents want to represent themselves as well, because you have to send out follow-ups you could be proud of, right?
Well, yeah, and you have to send up you have to create communication where you're putting the consumer first. And if you don't do that, then you start forgetting why we're in this business, right? A consumer, you have to try to think as much as a consumer as possible. So when I'm creating these, I actually go on and I go on certain ads and I see how I would react as a consumer. And that's how I come up with these. I'm like, oh, what questions would I have as a consumer, right? And what would I want answered if I am selling my home? Because I have sold my home, right? Anyway.
True. That's true. Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Day 2. So day 2, we typically send an email out in the evening around 6. And we've noticed that most email is either opened up early in the morning, like really early in the morning, before 8 a.m., or in the later evening, like 6 p.m. or after. And that's because people usually finish up what they're doing and they kind of chill by spending time on their phone or watching Netflix, one of the two. One day we'll be able to notify them on Netflix and be like, hey, do you want to sell your home? But for now, it's just email, right, Costas?
Yeah, we're actually working on the whole Netflix integration, but you're right for now.
Netflix notification. Can you imagine that by Agent Legend?
Yeah, where the actor says the name of the person.
I'm watching The Godfather, and it's like, I'll give them an offer. They can't refuse. Do you want to sell your home?
Right.
That would be awesome.
That would
Did I pay for that?
Let me ask you, Tristan, is the reason why you start with an email on day 2, is that because you've already sent 2 text messages, so you don't want to come across pushy?
Yeah, I want to try different avenues. And even if I've already talked to them, I want to approach them in a different way. And if we consistently do it in one way, like text, it's going to be like, wow, this guy or this girl is really pushy, or man, they're aggressive. And that doesn't always come across well. But if you diversify the way that you're approaching them, it doesn't seem as aggressive, because in email, they can check it or they can just skim over it, right? And the point for me is that they glanced at it and they're like, okay, got it, skip, if they're not interested. But that's the idea behind it, and that's why we shoot for an email the second day. And remember, these don't stop, so they don't shut off even if the consumer responds. So I had to think of the approach we would take to be thoughtful for the consumer, so that even if they did respond earlier, it wouldn't go against any of those responses. So for instance, this email, the subject line is how to sell your home in 3 days, right? And so if somebody really wants to sell their home and they're not in fact refinancing, that's going to be super attractive to them. They're like, okay, got it. This is extreme. So I used an extreme subject line. I thought about maybe doing 24 hours, and then that was a little too extreme for me. So I used kind of like something like 3 days. Instead of saying how to sell your home quickly, I thought, okay, I would probably open up this if I was a consumer, because I'd want to sell my home quickly, right? And so in the email, it says, hey, Costas, I know how to write catchy subject lines, right? Question mark. Anyway, I found this article a few months back, and I've shared it a few times with some sellers that I've helped out recently, and they loved it. It's a quick read, so let me know what you think once you read it. And so the article, it's really an outline of what they need to do to prepare the home to get it to sell as quickly as possible. So again, it's helping them out. And I'm not indicating what the article is about in that little, 2 sentences there, because I actually want them to click on it and find out what it is, right? So it's not clickbait. It really is. I'm trying to do my best to be as forthright as possible. And even though 3 days in some markets is kind of like impossible, right? But in my market, it's not too bad. But that's the idea behind day two. Any questions on that?
I think that's fantastic. And I like I always notice this about you, Tristan, and I like to emphasize it for our members. Like that first sentence, I know how to write catchy subject lines, right? Um, even somebody who had never met you or talked with you until they heard your voice for the first time on this webinar, they are not surprised to see that from you. So I just really love that. I think it's a big success principle that you write your follow-ups represent your personality. So if you're a member of ours and you're wondering how to do this yourself, if you have a personality like Tristan's, then you should do it this way. But if you don't, then you can feel free to change that and communicate the way that you talk. I think that's important. And
Yeah.
don't you, Tristan, you don't think that everybody has to say things the same way. I mean, we have millions of conversation records that we can analyze to see what gets the most response. And in the beginning, I used to think that people had to say things a certain way because that's what worked. That's what we saw work in the very beginning. But then I noticed people had just as good results using different words. And when I spoke with them, it wasn't until I talked with our early customers that I realized this, that I'm like, oh man, I can hear their personality over the phone, and not everybody has the same personality. So it just makes sense, right?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Everybody's a little different, and people gravitate to you specifically because they like you. They like that you're quirky, or they like that you're serious, or they like that you're super analytical or super relaxed. That's you, and that's why they're attracted to you. So the templates that we've created are just templates so that you can go in, and if you need to change a few words, a sentence, two sentences, or if you need to change the whole thing, it's there sequentially so that you know at least how it flows and you don't get lost, right? That's it. So day 4. So I skipped day 3 again. I'm not looking to bombard you, especially when you came in inquiring about possibly selling your home or just the value of your home. I know that those type of inquiries take a lot longer to transact. They're not usually quick. So in knowing that, again, I want to just move off of text, and this time try a video email. And I'm trying it in the morning this time, usually at a time when email isn't open as much, because again, I don't want to seem like I'm super aggressive, right? And in this email, the video email, the subject line is, why should you care about a CMA? Now, most people don't even know what a CMA is if they're not a real estate agent. And that's why I put it up there, because it's kind of pressing you and saying, well, what is that, right? And why should I know it? Why should I care about it? Why should that be important to me? And if you've already seen my text and my emails, and you're like, oh, it's from Tristan, he's a realtor. Okay, what the hell is a CMA? And so the video would explain it. And I think what I did, Costas, I think I also put the exact verbiage right underneath the video. So just in case you couldn't push play, you could read it. And it's a simple video. It says, hey, again, as realtors, we throw around terms like comps, CMA, BPO, and other abbreviations that you may not know. For your home, it's important that you know the term CMA. It stands for comparative market analysis. It's where information about your home is gathered and outlined concisely so you can see what the true value of your home is. That value is always changing, so anytime you need to run a CMA, just let me know. It's not as labor intensive as it sounds, so just hit me up or text me, I always say. Thanks again. And really, that's how it sounds. Obviously, put your flavor into it. My voice is recorded into that one, so you can get a feel of how it sounds, how tonality is. I always try to make it seem like it's easy, not pressure, very, very low key. And the fact that I added that the CMA is not as labor intensive, I'm working this very long term. and I'm hoping that they listen to this video, because any other agent that comes in there and tells them, well, I can throw out a CMA for you and look at all these pages I have, I'm kind of throwing that whole theory out the window and saying, hey, it's not going to take me a long time. So these other people that are coming through, and this is very subconscious, these other people that are coming through that are telling you to spend hours, or they're going to give you like a whole booklet on the CMA, guess what? It's a bunch of shit. It's not really, it's not real. It's like smoke and mirrors, because it's only going to take me a few minutes. And if they respond to this and say, okay, or they say thank you, or they actually call me back from it, I'll go into it and I'll explain, hey, look, it really only takes me 10 minutes, right? A lot of this is automated. I just kind of plug in the addresses that have sold and it populates it for me. So don't ever feel like you're taking a lot of my time from this. And my administrative assistant's the one doing it too. So, don't worry, Costas, we got you covered, right? So what
And
do you think
Tristan,
of
do
that one?
people appreciate the video? Does video make a difference as far as you can tell?
Yeah, it does, man. I think I get a lot of responses from video email and video text. So I wasn't sure how long this video was going to be. So instead of texting it, I put it into the video email. But we're noticing two things. One is video is being opened a lot more than we thought in the past. And video is working really well on social media. So if you recorded this, I would download this and probably put this on my Facebook as well, just so it's serving two purposes, right? Because look, nobody knows what a CMA is. They don't know what a BPO and comps are, right? So it's more content for you on social. But yeah, serves two purposes, bro. All right, next.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've got day 7. Day 7, now we go back to text. So it's been about a week since they got a text from us. And I usually try to contact them in the morning, around 8 to 9. I love that time. And then again, sometime in the evening, 6 p.m. This one, day 7, is at 8 a.m. and it's a text. And it's a simple text. Did you have any other questions about your home? ? Making sure I didn't miss anything. That's it. Super easy. It's not a text that says, hey, Costas, touching base, or hey, Costas, just checking in, which means absolutely nothing to me. I have no idea what the hell that means. I don't want to touch your base, right? Just touching base. What does that mean?
Right.
So don't just throw out texts that are just regurgitating what other people have left you a message on. Costas, how many messages have you gotten that says, hey, Costas, just touching base, call me back? Right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, it seems like those are the least urgent and important messages that you'd ever pay attention to. So, nobody has time for a touch base or a check-in, right?
Dude, nobody. So be a little more purposeful. If you're going to change this up, be more specific. And so I left this as, do you have any other questions about your home? I'm very specific. Do you have questions about your home? Anything I missed? Making sure I didn't miss anything. Right? And if you say no, awesome. Guess what's going to happen next? You're going to get another text on day 20. Right? Which is, there you go. And day 20, this one goes out at 6. So you're noticing a trend here. 8, 6, 8, 6. Those are the best times, right? Afternoons, like 4 to 6 is really good. Some people even say 8 p.m., but I don't like to push it that far out. You can if you want to. It's good. 6 p.m. text. Hi, Costas. Not sure if you like coffee, but if you have some time next week on Wednesday, we can get a latte or espresso. Now this may make some people feel a little uncomfortable because they're not usually asked to meet up or to actually meet in person one-on-one, right? This has all been a virtual relationship so far, Costas, if we haven't talked on the phone and I haven't gone up to your house. But I was thinking on this one, day 20, and let's say I've already met you in person. This on day 20 is still not bad. Let's say I haven't met you. Day 20, this text goes out. It's still not bad. So I was really trying to figure out how to have this communication without, remember, this doesn't shut off, right? So I was thinking day 20, you're in. If now this is for the real estate agent. I'm thinking as a real estate agent on this one. I need to meet you at some point because according to NAR, 78% of the people, of the inquiries that you meet in person transact with you. 78% of these leads. That's a huge number. That's 3 out of every 4 people you meet, you transact with that inquired about a property, right? So very specific. These people inquired about their value, which is similar, and I'm going to increase my chances if I actually ask. A lot of us never ask. This is more non-threatening. Hey, Costas, not sure if you like coffee, but if you have some time next week on Wednesday, we can get a latte or espresso. All they can say is no, right? Or, yeah, sure, I like coffee. I had one person actually respond back and said, no, they don't drink coffee. But I was like, okay, do you want to get some wine? Right? It left me open to ask. But they actually responded and said, no, I don't like coffee. I thought it was cool.
I think it's I was just going to say, Tristan, I think it's well thought out. I mean, this is a nurture. You know, we call this a nurture campaign. You call it a nurture campaign because it's not just designed to get the person to respond, right?
Yep.
And considering the value of a seller, right? A seller is, you know, how many more times valuable is a seller than a buyer, Tristan?
Well, from every seller, you can really use it to create a campaign to get more buyers and more sellers. So they're twice as valuable, man, or even more, because I can use every listing to push out a new marketing on Facebook or Instagram, and then just use it to get more leads and have open houses off of it. So it's at least twice more valuable. People would argue 3 times, 4 times more valuable, but I don't think there's any data on that. So I'm just going to say twice.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that they are many times more valuable as well, and I think it makes sense. I like that you wait 20 days before you even offer to meet them in person, because you don't seem like you're just hungry to close them, and you've already sent them plenty of relationship-based, easy, thoughtful emails where you're actually just there to be their trusted advisor. So by day 20, you didn't just go right into it and ask them to meet so that you can close them. So that you could be their agent, right? Like you've built the relationship, so this isn't coming out of left field.
No, not at all. And people ask me, well, how the hell do you come up with this crap? I'm like, well, we get a lot of leads, and I actually have all the responses. A lot of the responses, when I get a response back from a seller, right, or a buyer, I'm like, ooh, okay, let's see how many more responses I can get from that text, and I test them out. And the more responses I get, oh, wow, that's really good. Okay, so we're going to be using that one more often. So this is from testing it out, from the thousands of leads we get a month. And that's how I come up with most of this stuff. So day 30. Now we're a month in since we received the lead. And I thought, okay, well, again, I don't want to bombard them completely by text. And some email is still open. You know, email isn't dead. So let's try email, and let's try it at lunchtime, right when they usually start lunch, or right before they're about to go to lunch. Because if they go to lunch at 12, or if they go to lunch at 12:30 or 1, this email is going to be at the very top. And when they open their email, we're going to be towards the top of that. And so you're looking at the subject line being, hey, the one thing you haven't done. And then they look, it's for me again, Tristan. And they're like, okay, what haven't I done? Because if I am in fact looking to sell or to refinance, they're already thinking that that's the one thing they haven't done in regards to selling or in regards to refinancing. And so here we go. It says, hi, Costas. I get to talk to a lot of sellers, and it's super rare when I find that a homeowner has actually itemized their belongings. A home inventory list is a list of the items or personal belongings you have in your home, condo, or apartment. This list can be categorized by room, type of item, collection, or other relevant criteria. Here's an article that breaks down the process for you. Here's the link. And so again, I'm coming from value. Most people have never itemized everything in their home. Never. And that's because most people aren't engineers or analytical people that do this, right? If you're talking to the engineers or the analytical people, yeah, they probably have lots of lists of everything, but chances are that most people haven't, because most people aren't that. I think there was a study done that said less than 15% of people in the world are analytical. So that leaves 85% of people probably not even having a list. And so come from value, right?
Yeah, another, you're certainly not wasting any opportunity to give them value with this entire campaign, and that's important and noticeable.
Awesome, dude. All right, day 45, 15 days after the 1 month mark. Again, another 12 p.m. one, right? Lunchtime. Most people have jobs. Most people we're helping out are not entrepreneurs, where they're contractors or self-employed people. Most of them have jobs. And here we go. A voicemail this time. Remember, the voicemail is dropped directly into their voicemail. It doesn't ring their phone. And they're like, okay, I got a voicemail from hopefully they have your number saved. If they don't, I have a voicemail. They're going to check it. Why? Because they just head into lunch, or they're about to head into lunch. Good morning. It's Tristan again. I'm not sure you need this, but every once in a while, I come across some great investment properties. Let me know if you or your family members would be interested in getting some of these that I find. Anyway, have a great day, or have a great morning. And so again, I'm looking for what the consumer wants. The consumer usually looks for foreclosures, short sales, investment type properties. And so I'm giving them that. I'm saying, hey, guys, I come across investments and it's no big deal. I can send them to you too. Just let me know if you want them. And again, it's coming from value, right? We want to make sure that we're giving that back to them. And that's our first, is that our first voicemail drop, right? That was.
Yeah, that's the first one in this campaign.
Perfect. All right, let's move
Tristan,
on.
let me ask you, how often does it happen that, because you don't know who's interested in investment properties or not, are you surprised by the kind of response that you get to this? I'm sure it leads to some great
I am.
added ways to help people, right?
Yeah, the reason that I started this was a few years back. I don't remember how many years back. There was one client that I wasn't used to asking this question to the clients, the inquiries that come through, because I was thinking, okay, they only want to buy. They'll tell me what they want to buy, whether it's first time buyer or they're having to sell or buy. I would never ask if they're ever looking for investment properties. And so what happened is one of our clients ended up buying an investment property from a different realtor because they offered them investment properties, and they came to us to buy their home, which was really weird to me. I was like, oh, I didn't ask that one question. I didn't even know they were looking. So from that point on, I always made it a point to ask if you or your family is looking for investment properties. And ever since then, it's given us the opportunity to help them or their family buy. And yeah, it has made a difference, because usually what they come back is, well, investment properties, what do you mean? And then I go into it. I'm like, well, look, in this market, you're not going to find anything that's like 70 cents on the dollar probably in our market, but you do find things that are like 90 cents on the dollar. And if that's something you're looking at, then we can probably do that. In other states, you do have other opportunities where you can come in with 10 or 20% down and have a positive cash flow instantly. And I can connect you to those agents. I just don't know if you're looking here or if you're looking out of state. And so people appreciate that. Again, it gives us the opportunity to be the experts that we want to be.
Absolutely. Right? I love it.
Awesome. All right. Day 60, 2 months in, a text at 5 p.m. Usually when you're done working, you've already picked up the kids. If you're picking up the kids, I usually pick up my kids around 3:15. Sometimes I have piano, sometimes I have martial arts. I'm done by 5. So a text goes out. Hi again. I don't want to keep you updated if you don't need it. So let me know if you feel like I'm spamming you. Happy face. Again, being direct. I'm not saying, hey, I'm touching base or just checking in, which means absolutely nothing to me. I'm being very specific. And I want to know if I'm actually spamming you. And I think the last time we did this, I said that there have been a few people that have responded back and said, keep spamming me. And I thought that was funny. Um, so even though I'm not spamming them, damn it. They say, keep spamming me. Some people are like, yeah, go ahead. Or some people say no, and I don't understand what no means. So I'm like, do you mean it's okay to keep texting you or question mark? Right? The point is that they responded back, and now you have the opportunity to respond like you want to. If they say, hey, please don't communicate with me anymore, I say, I'm so sorry. I'll stop communication. Did you already end up buying a home, or did you just put everything on hold? Right? I still want to know.
Yeah, that's really interesting to know why, because you paid for every single lead that came that you have in your campaigns. You paid for them with either real money or your time or a combination of both. And a no is just as valuable as a yes, because how much time are you wasting on people that are never interested? So it's great when somebody tells you no, because there's you don't even have to think about them. You don't have to waste any energy or space on them. And I like that you go out of your way to ask why. Or did you have a house that you sold? Because it'll help you learn for the next time, right? Maybe if a lot of people tell you no at the same point, then you can go and adjust your campaign so to deal with this in the future for more people that come in, right?
Yeah, and you want to give people an out too, because I think if they feel like they're being spammed, right, it's important for us to stop. Only because people keep on going and going and never ask. So we ask now, right? And that's what we do. So now from this point, from day 60, we skip 30 days because now we're in it. We've been there a little bit. We've either had some responses or we haven't, right? And now we go directly into day 90. And day 90 shifts over to an email, and the email is a little bit later at night. It goes out about 8 p.m. And the subject line, again, we're coming from value and we're coming from maybe pushing their curiosity. Subject line is the 4 things no one ever told you about your home. All right. And so you own a home, and remember, you're thinking, well, I may want to sell it because I'm looking for value, or I may want to refinance it and I'm looking to increase the value of my home, or I'm just a homeowner and I'm like, okay, well, damn it, Tristan, what are the 4 things nobody ever told me about my home? Right. And that's what we want. We want to just kind of press them a little bit and be like, okay, Costas, now you're going to open this email because you read my subject line. And so I say, good evening, Costas. That's the cool part. I love that we can tell what time it is. So good evening. So there are a few things I want to point out that you might not know about optimizing your home. And I break it down for them there. They don't have to click a link. They don't have to go outside of this. And this way, they can keep this, save this. But number 1, I talk about filter replacement. A lot of people don't know that if you replace your filter for your AC or furnace, it actually extends the longevity of your unit, which is great. Nobody ever talks about that. That's number 1. Number 2, every insurance adjuster has 100 stories like this one. The homeowner left town Friday and forgot to turn off the water. Okay, they just forgot to turn off the main valve. And guess what? There's a leak, and now their home is completely flooded. This actually happened to me. So it's number 2. When I lived in the townhome, I had somebody, I don't know who it was. It was probably me. For some reason, I guess I left the dishwasher dishwashing, and I was like, why not? Everybody does it. I mean, you probably do it because this dishwasher is washing. And I left, and we left as it's washing, and then we come back, and it's like flooded. Water's coming out of the garage. I'm like, no. I thought it was my water heater. And it wasn't, I mean, it's not my fault, but there was I guess there was a problem with one of the valves. It didn't shut off when it shut off. So they found the problem. It wasn't my fault. They fixed up my whole first floor, my townhome. But nobody ever tells you when you leave town to actually shut that off. So I thought, good information. Number 3, synthetic soaps make cleaning your shower or bath easier because they don't contain the ingredients that create tough soap scum, any liquid, all that stuff. So look, that's important too, because when it goes to the drain, when it goes and messes up your plumbing that you have to replace years later, it's your problem. So nobody ever tells you. And then number 4, a thief who breaks into your car can grab the remote from your car and open up your garage, and now they have access to your house. Nobody ever tells you that, right? Or they can break your window and press that button up there, right? So these things that people don't think about that can damage their home, I thought was very useful. Nobody ever talks about it. Again, coming from value and contribution. This could actually be a blog. You guys could put it together, change it up a little bit, and use it as a blog that you post on Facebook.
Absolutely. I love it. I love I love that you're in the position of thought leader. You're nurturing them with really, truly helpful. You're coming from a place of value in everything that you're doing. So there's no wasted follow-up. I can see why this works so well for you, Tristan.
Yeah, man. And so you notice too, as we're heading into like further into this nurture, we've spread it into 30 days, right? Look what happens next on day 120. Wait, did we skip day 160, day 120?
We were on day 90. Now we're on day 160.
Okay, so there was
one. Could that have been 120?
Yeah, it's fine. There's one there. I got it memorized there. So there's one on day 120, and the text goes out at 8 a.m. And the text, again, going back to 8 and 6, remember that? 8 a.m. Text goes out. It's been 30 days since we've communicated with them by email, but it's been it's been 60 days since we last communicated by text, which is big, right? Doesn't seem like we're spamming them, because we're not. Day 120, 8 a.m., text goes out, says, hey, Costas, prices have changed. Remember, 120 days in, prices have changed a little bit. Did you want me to text you a new CMA for your home? And if they've been paying attention, they know what a CMA is, right? Because we went over this on a video. And if they haven't, they'll be like, what's a CMA? Which is perfect, because you'll be like, oh, a CMA is a comparative market analysis. It gives the value of your home, and it's like 15, 20 pages, and I can do that for you in about 15 minutes, right? But the point is, you're back by text. It's been 120 days. Markets can change rapidly in some areas, especially when you're going from spring to summer to fall, fall to winter, right? Prices can decrease and increase rapidly. So this is perfect. So most likely they'll be like, yes or no, or stop bothering me, right? And all three are okay, because it gives you the opportunity again to engage, right? If
That's
they say
great.
Yes, easy. Go ahead.
I love that it's, you're going for the long-term relationship. So even if we talked 6 months ago, home values may very well have changed. So this is following up for the long term. And you're not in it to get a quick deal. You will get deals early on, because people are from the ones who need it and they're motivated. But the real money is in the long-term follow-up and nurturing these people, so that, my gosh, like 6 months. 6 months is, people could think longer about selling their home. They could be serious for selling their home for a year, and they're still not ready to do anything, right?
Yeah, man. And look, I wanted to go longer on this because the last one is day 160. But I thought we could really start creating different nurturing campaigns. So like this one could be like your shorter one for 160 days. Then we can go for a year, right? So we can extend this one and go for a year. And then we can go for 2 years. So we can do a lot with this. I just wanted to give you a starting point as an agent to be like, okay, good. I've got the first 160 days taken care of. And so day 160, text goes out at 11 a.m. And you ask me, well, why am I communicating more by text than any other way? And that's because most people respond by text. And I think the number was in the 80%. I don't remember where it was, but 80%, over 80% of people respond to all of their texts. All of their texts, right? That's huge. That's way better than email. So, you know, the last two here, day 160, 11 a.m. text. Not sure if you have trust, not sure if you have a trusted list of service providers, but if you ever need an electrician, plumber, or handyman, let me know. And I put a little emoji of a robot there. It doesn't show right there, but you can put an emoji, you can leave it out. Again, I like putting emojis. One thing on emojis, if you put emojis on your subject line, Gmail started categorizing that email as spam. So just be careful when you're putting emojis on your subject lines. This one is a text, but again, I'm coming from curiosity and I'm coming from giving value, right? Look, I'm not sure, Costas, I'm not sure if you've a trusted list of service providers, right? I'm not sure. But if you ever need an electrician, plumber, or handyman, just let me know, right? And so we've talked about this one before because we've used a similar one in our last strip that we created where we're giving out service providers. And again, this one doesn't get old, man.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, if good people know good people, right? So
Yeah.
if you're always willing to make the connection, I mean,
You
people
know
need
what's
those
funny?
kinds of
You
things.
said the exact same thing last time. That's so cool.
Oh, it's, I guess,
Dude, that's so
I really
good.
believe that.
Oh,
I felt
shoot.
like I just came up with it, but yeah, no, it's true.
I remember that triggered other memories. I remember. That was good. All right. So, and that's it. So that the idea behind this is, remember, if you get an inquiry from your online campaigns of people asking for value, and don't second guess it. If Zillow's still doing it out there where they're asking you what the value of your home is to get these seller leads, which is what they're doing, um, then do the same thing, right? Zillow just recently switched over to also to do the Zillow offers, which is just telling the sellers, hey, sellers, skip the line or don't contact the realtor first, make it easy, and then come to us. We'll give you the value of your home and we'll buy your home from you. And then they bring in a realtor anyway. But the point is start thinking a little bit outside the box on how to get these seller leads. If you start creating your own instant offers through Facebook, through Instagram, through LinkedIn, and you're asking them, hey, have you wondered about the value of your home and we can buy your home, you can still use this and it would work perfectly. So just start getting creative as to how you can start marketing on Facebook and Instagram along the lines of always thinking like the consumer. What do we want as a consumer? If I'm trying to sell my home, I want to know the value of my home and I want to make sure that it's super accurate, right? I want to make sure that I'm going to sell it for the best price possible and that I'm not going to get screwed by a realtor or by somebody who's trying to buy my home like an investor. And that's it. Costas, anything you want to add, buddy?
My gosh, I love it. You know, I can say also that I love that. I guess I think of it as like that top of the funnel for getting a lead in the first place. It's like there's a difference between being a generalist who just says, call me for anything you need, right? Anything you need, which is what somebody can do because you know a lot. But when you have a piece of marketing out there, wherever it happens to be, it might be on Facebook or anything, and you make a specific offer like, hey, find out what your home is worth, and you make it real easy for them to find out what their home is worth, then you can do what you just did. You take that one little thing that they're interested in right now, and you design a follow-up sequence that you could be yourself and you can help them along that for a year. My gosh, because I mean, every homeowner is asking themselves that question. Now, maybe they don't want to sell right now, but they still want to know what it's worth. And it's something that, you know, it's a piece of knowledge that you store away realistically. What can I get for my home? And when you do want to do something, they're going to think of you because you're the one that's going to help them. I think you've done an amazing job with that, Tristan,
Dude.
just like you always do. It's just a really smart way of coming in, of getting a lead that's likely to do business with you when they're ready, which is what we want to do this whole time. The tough part is following up, right? Like if everybody wanted to do business on day one, right when they reach out, follow up wouldn't be that important. But this is the most important purchase. It's the largest purchase they're ever going to make in their entire life, oftentimes, right? Most people. So it's not something that they do without a lot of thought, and that doesn't take a lot of nurturing from you. So this is fantastic.
Very true. Very true. So two things on what you said, because as you're talking, I get more ideas. And
Yes.
It's kind of like we're masterminding with each other, dude. I love it because I can't see all the other 1,000 people on this.
Right. Right. What's your other ideas?
So here's one thing. One is that you mentioned something where you said you want to be specific, and you can take this campaign and make it super specific. You can say, like, for instance, me in Malibu, there's different parts, Broad Beach, there's Carbon Beach, there's other areas. And so let's say I want to touch on Broad Beach, and it's for that area, and I know that I'm specifically targeting them on Facebook, right? Because I sent up a custom audience, and now I have these people that I'm targeting because I got my custom audience from wherever. I downloaded it. Now they're being targeted, and I know if they've inquired, guess what? My Agent Legend campaign here. Now all of a sudden, I can say specifically, I can be like, hey, you seller Costas, I saw that you came in from this, and have you wondered what your home is worth in Broad Beach? Right now, the ad's going to be like Broad Beach. And then my first response is, hey, Costas, I got your inquiry about your Broad Beach home. I'm working on the value right now. Could you tell me if you remodeled it or anything? Now, all of a sudden, it's like, this is definitely not automated, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just personalizing it more with location and area and anything you can, right?
Yeah. And so I think that's super brilliant that what you just said. If you be more specific, and we all have our niches, right? If I want to include all of Malibu, I can still do that. My first text would be, hey, Costas, I got your inquiry about your home in Malibu, right? That's freaking awesome. If you know you're running your ad to a specific area, I would make it even more specific, right? Whatever that would be, Studio City, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, dude, Nashville, Tennessee, right? If you're in Nashville, are you in Nashville? I forgot.
I am. Yes, I am in that.
So I'd be like, dude, even if Nashville's huge and it's only a specific area that I'm targeting, nobody knows. I'd still say Nashville, right? So start thinking more specific, and you really jogged my memory. I was like, what the? That's a great idea, dude. That's a great idea.
It's a great reminder, Tristan, because everybody can do that right now with their Agent Legend account. We have custom fields that let you specify a local area, and you could say Nashville or Nashville area or your area. So yeah, that's built in. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think you should definitely do that with your Agent Legend campaigns for sure. And then the second thing I totally forgot, but that was fun.
Well, guys, let me show you where you can see this campaign. It is already built. It is ready and waiting for you right now inside your Agent Legend account. All you have to do, log into your account, edit the campaign. You'll see it right there in front of you. Remember to personalize the video. The video email. You don't want it to be Tristan out there, or maybe you do, but you probably don't. So go ahead and remember to record the video, record the voicemail. Go ahead and make sure that all the messaging is exactly how you want it. Very, very straightforward to do that. Anything we can do for you, please just hit us up. Our staff, our customer team is always there to help you answer any questions that you need. Maybe you want help personalizing or templatizing or making this yours, hooking up your leads, any questions at all. We are here for you on that. And also, if you are a Lab Code Agents member and you haven't signed up for Agent Legend, you just want some information, please just chat us up on the website. We're happy to talk to you. And we love Lab Code Agents. And if you're not a Lab Code Agents member, please look up Tristan and his company and his community. It's really a community on Facebook. Just type Lab Code Agents. It is so active, and Tristan is always on the front lines of technology and innovation and streamlining everything. So you'll want to go and listen to what he says. And Tristan, thank you so much for what you've done for us and for what you're doing in this space. This is amazing.
Next
week, I've got to say, Tristan, you mentioned martial arts. I don't know if you just said that as an example, do you do martial arts, or did you just use that as an example because you say some of your
No,
customers do?
I did it when I think from the age of 8 to the age of 16. So I did it when I was really young. So as I got older, I got fatter, and I didn't do it. But I said, you know what? One thing I did learn from that is that my parents said, don't stop, don't stop. So it showed me that I shouldn't stop doing something. It created that consistency. And so I thought that was cool. And I was like, my kids should be doing something like that. Even if they hate it and they cry, I don't want to go to martial arts. I'm like, you're going to go. This is part of life. So it's helping them create that consistency. Like, I'm not going to quit. They're not going to quit.
Absolutely. And
I know you do it. So
yeah, I loved that you brought up that example, because I don't know that I don't know if you reminded me of this, and I mentioned it before, but I feel like, Bruce Lee created his own martial art, but what he said was martial arts should be, every person should have their own expression of the martial arts. So it's not like there's one way to do everything. You should find your own way to express it, because you're all different. And that just made me think of that, because that's our mission here at Agent Legend. And I just want to encourage everybody and remind everybody, the reason why there's so much room for different types of agents to be successful in this space is because there's so much demand. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, some people like to talk, other people don't, and they like to get right down to business. Some people are strict, some people don't feel comfortable using relaxed language and all that stuff. And the beauty of it is that there's so much demand in this market, in every market, if you know where to look, right? And I know you know where to look, Tristan, and I know that most of our customers know where to look, because most of the people who need us are already successful. So, I mean, we're very lucky in that we hear from our customers. I think the reason why we're able to stay ahead and innovate is because our customers are already doing so much, and they're on the top of their game, and they just tell us what they need. So, but I just want to encourage everybody, there are so many ways to do this. And the important thing is, use your Agent Legend account to express yourself. Don't force something else. So we're here to make that as easy as possible for you. Tristan, you're such an amazing example of somebody who has done that, and you're happy and you have so much success. And I really think it's because of the way that you position yourself. It's just true to who you are. So thank you for being a leader in the space. You're amazing.
Well, you as well, man. Thanks for creating Agent Legend. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to automate more than half the things that I automate. So, dude, what are we talking about next month?
That's a good question.
Or later this month, actually.
We have some ideas, right?
I thought we were throwing out so we still have quite a few people on. So if you guys have some ideas as to what we should do, one of them was creating an expired campaign for after you speak with an expired seller, after you speak with them, obviously, and you get permission to contact them later. Say, hey, Costas, I know your home expired. Oh, I'm not interested. Okay, well, is it okay if I call you back, or I text you a month from now, see how you're doing, see if you yeah, go ahead and contact me. Okay, good, that counts. And so that's then when I would put you on a campaign like that. So we're thinking that, or the other one was the campaign for the holidays, right? But then you'd have to watch where the holidays are, because some holidays change, right? So in the calendar. So we could definitely do one or the other, but you know what? But I can't see the answers of the questions. I don't know if the audience is actually asking or they prefer a certain one. So if you have any preference, type it in right now so Costas and Kate can see it, and this way we at least know maybe what to create if we're going to go with ours.
Yeah, and actually, a way that we could be more efficient and collect feedback is, after this webinar is over, Bria from our customer team is going to send everybody an email. You're going to have access to the recording. You're also going to have access to the PowerPoint slides that we shared with you today. So you'll be able to go through and look at any of this. But also, if you have any feedback for us, please let us know, number one, what you thought about today's session. Let us know what you appreciated about it, what was helpful, any suggestions you have. And also, I think it's perfect a perfect way for us to ask you what else you'd like us to see. So, you know, our goal is to be on a monthly schedule with this, and please just let us know what interests you. Maybe it's something we've mentioned or something we haven't mentioned. And, you know, we want to hear from you, want to make sure that we're serving you. So thank you. And I actually see, Tristan, I see Len would like a FSBO campaign. Bray Anna would like an expired campaign. Shelia wants an expired campaign, although I wonder if her name is Sheila, but maybe she's just typing so fast. It's either Shelia or Sheila. But yes, I think expired and for sale by owners seems like a hit. If you guys wouldn't mind just letting Bria know when she emails you, we'll know absolutely for sure.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Tristan, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody who took your time to show up. And we'll see you guys at the next one.
Bye.